we're asking dumb SEO questions. Each week we answer the questions asked on the dumb SEO questions community on Google+. With us tonight we have Alistair Lattimore. Alistair is head of search for the What If group. Andy Wigglesworth is back for a brief stint. And Andy is chief web architect for the. Am I allowed to say where, Andy?
If you want, but it's just a graphic designer. It's not web based anymore. Yeah. I'm just a graphic designer. LA Fitness.
Okay. LA Fitness in the UK. He lives in the frozen wastelands of the north of England, near Doncaster. Rob Mars is CEO of MarketBiz.nl. He's an AdWords aficionado. And in the Dutch language, he's a Google top contributor on the web search and AdWords communities. Is that right? Oh, cool. Okay. Tim Capper is SEO to the superpowers. He's the confidant of world leaders, and he's proud to call himself an SEO. He operates from the Midlands of London. He runs a website. It's called onlineownership.com. Okay. So our first question tonight is from Jason Hodge, who asks, why would a website lose rankings? Why indeed? He said, why would a website lose rankings in all keywords without changes being made? Last week, our website took a massive hit. Every keyword he had dropped significantly in Google rankings. We have not made any recent changes to our website. We've ranked high, good inbound links, not posted on any spammy sites, etc., but it all just tanked, resulting in us only getting 10 to 20% of our original traffic. I've checked Google Webmaster Tools and everything seems okay there, except for one slow page. I know of one website with 44 inbound links that I previously was a guest blogger for that closed down in the last month. At this point, I'm just not sure what's going on or how to fix it. I will gladly take any advice. Thank you so much for the time to read this and volunteering your valuable time to help me. And the website is medicalfitnesspros.com. I'm getting a lot of feedback. Is it coming through clear enough for you? Okay.
So the first thing I suppose is rankings could have dropped because a bunch of links that were pointing to his website have been taken down, for instance. Google's opinion of his website now is a little less influential than it was before, and his rankings have slipped. You've made no changes to your website, but the links to your website have changed, so that's a simple example. The other thing is, if you're using a content management system, it's possible that you might have changed a setting in your content management system, as an example, without realizing it. Impacted your site. In your instance, for instance, you're using WordPress and your robots.txt file is still in good shape. It hasn't been you haven't accidentally blocked your whole website from being crawled from Google, which is good. So that's a good step.
While Alistair's picking up something more for Jason, has anybody else got some input on this one? we mark this one down as a good answer, Al?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing anything, you know, in a quick check, anything that's massively out of place. The site's only indexed under www. The canonical tags on the pages I've checked point to the right place. Robots.txt isn't blocking it. Meta robots tags aren't no indexing the site.
I wonder if it's anything to do with the fact that it is very, very, very close to giving medical advice and may have failed a quality review.
Mm-hmm. So that's interesting, mostly because there was statements from Google a little while ago about who put this stuff out. I don't know if it was Google directly, but there was something in the Panda update recently. Someone put up an article basically doing some analysis on the sites that were winning and the sites that were losing. Some of the stuff that they analysed was the depth of content, the quality of the content in the medical niche. The sites that seemed to be getting a big lift were the ones that were, you know, really pushing hard to deliver amazing content, and the medical sites that were just like, you know, smacking the content out, so to speak, looked as though they sort of took a hit on that most recent update. Maybe he's fallen victim to that. Does he give a date in his question when?
No, I don't think he does.
But they've lost basically 80% of their traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so he says last week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does. Sorry.
Right, okay. I would check Google Webmaster Tools as well to see if there's any manual actions in his website, to see if that's could yield.
He also has only a low number of links that he knows of, and he thinks he's just lost 44 out of the 100 he did know of. I wonder if it's a negative SEO thing. It would be pretty easy to topple a site with a low number of links.
Yep. What does Moz say? Yeah, so Moz doesn't show any huge amount of links. 22 linking domains, 160 odd links in total. In fact, it's not even that because some of those are internal links. I'd say it's an algorithm thing, and he should investigate that. Check whether or not the dates that he's been penalised line up with the recent updates from Google on Panda. The change dates for that are annotated on the moz.com Google algorithm change history page. Just for convenience sake, I check there. Check his analytics. Check Google Webmaster Tools to see if anything's happened there. See what he finds.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I think we can call that almost. I think that we can say we've covered this very well. Tim Capper almost burst into voice at one stage there. I saw him move his lips. Anyway, let's call that one answered, Jason. But if you'd like to get more from us, please ask it again on the SEO Questions community on Google+. I have a question now from Brad Sachs. Brad asks, what is the difference between Google Local and Google My Business? And will Google My Business be a part of your local SEO campaign until the end of the year?
So I'm not 100% up with this, but essentially the other day Google announced that they were rebranding Google Plus Local or Google Places or Google Business or whatever the hell it was called most recently into Google My Business. And now that is the one-stop shop for anything to do with your local business. It's all in that one account, including your listings, your dashboards for the listings in terms of the health, performance, impressions, click data, all that kind of jazz is all in one place. In terms of Google Local, per se, in quotes, I think that hasn't changed. Well, it depends what you're referencing there. You can still access the local section within Google Plus, if that's what you're referring to. That hasn't changed. So, yeah. In terms of it being part of your SEO campaign type stuff until the end of the year, Google Places or business listings within Google, they're not going anywhere. They're really, really important for Google. So if you're operating in a niche or you operate a business that is a local business and you need Google Places or Google My Business or whatever because you're a brick and mortar store, that's not going anywhere. So it should be part of your SEO strategy for now until the end of the year, next year, the year after that.
Yep. And Google is, I'm going to report that Google's really pushing it. I've got a verified page that I don't follow up a lot, and received an email this week encouraging me to do this, do that, and so on, to make it better known on the web, which I thought was a good thing. Anybody else? Any comment on Google Plus, Google Local? You're muted, Tim. We've got a sound issue there, mate. Ukraine has cut you off, I reckon. Okay, we'll pass on that, and if Tim wants to add something to it in a moment, he will, Brad Sachs.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm back.
Yep.
Right. Listen, I'm just nipping back to that medical fitness one. Sorry, I know a bit late to jump off it. Right. He needs to look at, which slightly concerning, is there's a blog called gettoknowkatie.com. You've got 17 links coming from her. All of them are on sort of, a selection of different pages, and all those pages, I mean, it is anchor text, it is Medical Fitness Pros, but it just looks like Spam City, those pages. On every one of those pages, they have probably, I don't know, different third links coming out on all these pages. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. They seem to just link out the same things on every single page for gym and fitness centers, yoga studios. I don't think those are doing you any favors. I would just have a look at that site and just see what's going on there. Gettoknowkatie.com. You've got 17 links coming off on all different weird pages, and it just looks a bit bizarre. So that's one thing I'd also have a quick look at. Anyway, that's me done.
Okay, and any answers for the actual question we're answering?
No, I was too busy sorting out my microphone. I was like, ah. Right.
Okay. Well, we'll call this answered, Brad Sachs, and as always, you can always ask it again on the Dumb SEO Questions community on Google+, and we'll do our best to do better for you. Niraj Kumar, who's asked a lot of questions of us recently, asks what is duplicate content? He provides the link to a previous answer where he asked would an action negatively affect his blog as well as the website due to duplicate title and content. I think the issue there was that they wanted to post website content on their blog, essentially the same content. But his question is really, after this reply, now I would like to ask what the duplicate content really is. I guess Niraj means, you know, how do we describe duplicate content? What makes content duplicate?
Well, it's any piece of content on your site, or potentially on a third-party site, where your content is duplicated several times. So imagine the scenario where you've got hundreds or dozens of variations of URL variations for a given URL, all indexed in Google, all with the same content. Let's say you've got tracking URLs, and somehow Google's managed to crawl and index 30, 50, or 100 versions of a given URL with different tracking codes. You've now got 30 versions of the same page of content sitting in Google for no reason. That's an example of duplicate content, as an example. You could have stuff where it's duplicated because you on a category page, for instance, in your blog, you might list out the full article on the category URLs as well as on the actual article URL itself. Duplicate content. You could have content duplicated because of canonicalization issues with, you know, www and the naked domain with no www. You could have it duplicated because of HTTP and HTTPS. Both sites could be indexed. You could have casing variations, you know, URL letter casing problems, same basic issue. And then there's essentially your content sitting on a third-party website where it's been copied or scraped or, you know, repurposed in large chunks, potentially, causing, you know, this duplicate content kind of issue as well.
Yes, I think that's a good answer. Oh, hi, Arthur. Arthur Radeliscu is a search engine optimization specialist for, and I just can't think of the name of the company, but it's in Bratislava in Romania. And
it's Gabriel's Technology Solution, actually, and
Gabriel's
it's based in New York.
Based in New York, but you're in Romania.
Yes, I'm based in Romania. Hey there, guys.
No problem. And Girish Kapoor from Chandigarh, India, is also with us. Is it Chandigarh or Chandrigarh? I can't remember. Anyway, Niraj, I hope that answers that for you. And look, here's a question from Girish. Girish asked last week. He asked on the 13th of the 6th that if I permanently redirect 301 redirect my old URL with an underscore, as in abc.com/about_us, to a new URL with hyphen, as in abc.com/about-us, then is the keyword ranking of the particular page changed hurt?
Jewish.
I'm going to.
Nobody can hear you.
Hello, how do you all sing? Okay, if nobody else has an answer for Girish, I'm going to say that a 301 passes some, but not all of the value of a link. So it's okay to change an underscore to a hyphen, but personally, I like underscores because they're more easily readable by a human being. Apparently, Google interprets hyphens better than underscores. In other words, if the word is separated by an underscore, Google runs the two words together and the underscore just disappears, whereas if it's a hyphen, Googlebot looks at two separate words. But still, I think you know, it's more easily human readable with an underscore, so for that reason I would stick to that. But if you do choose to go the other route and replace it, then you can expect to lose a percentage of its value from the 301 redirect. Is it search engine friendly? Well, of course, that's what you just put in the comments here in the chat here. Well, I think it is, but I'll listen to somebody else.
Yes, definitely is. I mean, it's true what you said, Jim, that it will lose a very tiny bit of page rank through the 301 redirect. But even Matt Katz said that it's so insignificant that you don't have to worry about. So go ahead and use the 301, but I want to tackle another aspect of this. I mean, if you want to switch from underscores to dashes, it's not enough only to switch between these two. If you do this switch just to add more value, you need to do some more things. I mean, if you want to improve your internal structure of the website, or definitely I will go with shorten the URLs. Short URLs are better than long URLs, even if the long URLs contain all of the keywords you want. The thing is, it's more important for that URL to be shorter than to be stuffed with keywords. So I would try to improve all of these aspects if I want to change the URL. I mean, in the same time, I would shorten the URL. I would revise the structure of my website to see if I can improve something, like removing all the intermediary directories from a link, which are not necessarily necessary for the structure of the website, or repeatable structure URLs which are no longer in place. And I would sum up all of this into one nicer, shorter, and better to understand URL. Only then I would make the switch, because it will make sense and I will gain some SEO.
The other thing that's probably worth pointing out here is that changing the URL alone, on its own, for instance, the likelihood of you seeing any benefit in the search results as a ranking boost of changing the URL from underscores to hyphens, I would be shocked to see that happen. In years gone by, several years, things like that used to work, like going from URLs with numbers, for instance, to URLs with words that people could read, actually had a small impact on rankings. These days, Google refers to things like this as a second-order effect, i.e., it's negligible at best, the gains you would get out of switching from a URL with words using underscores to the same URL with hyphens. So, in general, the other guidance that Google give on this is, by all means, start changing your URLs. But if you could leave all of your existing URLs in place with underscores, and then start publishing new URLs in your website on sort of moving forward using hyphens. That would probably be a better scenario. That way you don't have to go through the process of doing the 301 redirects. If that's not practical because your content management system is going to change all URLs, then obviously you need to go through this process that the guys have spoken about with 301 redirects from every existing page to every new equivalent page with the hyphens, as an example. If you do that and then start considering the stuff that Arthur talked about as well with restructuring the site, improving the architecture in terms of how you group content together in folders and things like that, be very, very, very careful about doing that. Make sure you've got lots of testing in place to make sure your redirects are working properly, that you're not redirecting lots of URLs to a single URL or redirecting them into broken pages, or that Google can't crawl the old URLs to access the 301 redirects, or that they can't crawl the new URLs to access where you're sending the content to. Like, there's a whole raft of things to consider by doing this. Doing it wrong can cause some serious damage to your site, so make sure you test it, and when you think you've tested it, test it again, then probably test it again.
Fair enough. Okay, I can see our next question, question 5 on your run list, guys, was also asked by Girish. He wants to show videos on 2 different websites. He said, but if I'm using the same videos on both websites, can any copy duplicate content issues arise? If yes, then what is the best technique to use if I choose to continue to use the same videos on both websites?
It's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. Yep. If anything, embedding the video on multiple URLs will help the video URL rank better in Google. For instance, if you hosted this one video on YouTube and that video was embedded on 2 or 3 or 10 different websites, that's only going to improve Google's opinion of that video, that it's useful, reputable, it's getting viewed, etc.
Yeah, like with the dumb SEO questions clip that we put out, that goes out with a Creative Commons license. You can use them any way you want, slice them and dice them. And I think the last time I looked, there were about 40-odd websites publishing exactly the same videos. It's all to do with the text that they surround them with. I don't see that's an issue. Are you happy with that, Girish? Okay, well, fine. Well, that's great to have you on board here. It's easy to know when we've answered the question. Good heavens, here's another one from Girish. Okay, how do we tackle copied content? He said, our site allows vendors to upload products on our site, and at times they copy content from other websites. How do we tackle this situation?
Well, usually on the same content on multiple websites is not so benefic for the smaller sites. I mean, sites like eBay or Amazon and so on and so forth, they are doing great because they have a lot of content, and then the duplicate content doesn't hurt them so much. But if your website is not that big, if you cannot afford to have product descriptions as duplicate, because you will never rise. Just talk to the guys who are uploading content and just get them around to add more value to that content. I mean, either to write it from scratch to bottom, but that's very difficult, or to add, I don't know, other some more content next to the original one, which is also original, to write that specific piece of content by themselves to add more value. And in this way, Google will see that your description of that specific product has more content than your than on the other websites, and that will definitely help you if you do it on a large scale, of course.
Yeah, I have a contra opinion to you, Arthur. I hope you don't mind, but
not at all, please.
I'd be telling these guys, if you're going to continue to do this, you're out, because if they're copying content from other websites, and no doubt probably copying images as well, then they're leaving your site open to a DMCA takedown notice. You just don't need the trouble. What's the point of having someone if they're just going to copy paste? They either do a job or they don't do it at all. That would be my opinion.
Yeah, but
yeah,
if you're
well,
an website, Jim, that's just not practical. Like you mentioned that you allow vendors to upload products onto your website, and you allow Samsung, for instance, to provide their feed of content to your site. That same feed of content could be on tens of thousands of other websites. Expecting them to go and provide unique content to every place that they syndicate their content to is not practical. Not if it's done, at scale like that. The only other thing I would say here, just in general, is like Arthur said, you want to, if they have to upload the same content because it's, you can't stop them doing it necessarily. You could come up, for instance, and put a warning into the admin area of your website. So when they do upload this content, you might check to see whether or not that content exists on other websites with a Google query automatically, or using, say, the Copyscape API, and then put back a warning to them and basically tell the vendor, we've detected that this same content is on many other websites. To maximize your sales through our distribution channel, so our website, we would highly recommend that you provide unique content to, update the content to be unique, basically, and incentivize them, so to speak, to do a better job. If that's still not practical, then finding other ways to get unique content might be useful, like looking at things like user-generated content, reviews of those products and things like that, and really pushing hard to try and get unique content that's related to each product.
Fair enough. I guess I'm just old and grumpy. All right. Girish, are you happy with that answer? Cool. Okay. Well, we can safely move on, confident in that knowledge. Jennifer Reisinger asks about a site which has no content except for a privacy policy, yet it has a page rank of 3. She goes on to say, I was curious and I stumbled onto a link on Pinterest that was using an image from my blog. So I clicked the URL and the site is for sale. No content except for a privacy policy, yet it has a PR3. And even the content link I found has a PR3. The site is healthwellness808.com/query P equals 1180. How does this happen?
It's got a lot of links to it, potentially, to the home page, as an example, and the home page is providing equity to the privacy policy. Nothing. You could have a one-page website that's, massively, massively powerful if it's got lots and lots and lots of links to it. So, yeah. It can also be faked as well, which is a little bit dodgy, but that's possible as well.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, there could easily have been a site. Google updates toolbar PageRank very rarely. There could easily have been a full site there at the time that PageRank was calculated, and now is no longer. Right.
Yes.
Let's call that answered for Jennifer. But Jennifer, if you'd like further clarification or like us to look more deeply into it, if you could provide anything, although I think you've covered it as far as provision of the question. But yes, if you'd like us to look at it again, please ask it again on the Dumb SEO Questions community on Google+. Stephen Sicantelli from Abraxi Taxi, who's asked a number of questions of us. He wants to know, what should I concentrate on for SEO? This is something that is an issue for site owners. What do they spend their time on? He goes on to say, okay, besides local maps, G+ page, Google search, and now I need to learn Google My Business. When does this end? And for SEO, what should I concentrate on? Don't all talk at once.
So Steve has got a local business, right? He's literally the taxi thing.
Yep, that's it.
So doing local optimization is obviously just going to be really, really important for him, because he needs to come up in when people are looking for taxis and limousines, or whatever the sort of taxi is that he might provide, in the towns where he's servicing with his business. So local for him is going to be really important. So other than optimizing his Google Plus local profile, he needs to go and obviously get his business onto all of the big business directory websites like Yellow Pages or Yelp or Super Pages or wherever they are for his part of the world. All of the reputable ones. Don't bother with all of the crap junk stuff that you can submit to for $5. Then the other part of it is just normal SEO related stuff. Going out and having great copy, building links. He might consider trying to find ways to produce some really interesting content for his taxi business and seeing if he can get some good links from related industries maybe out of that. And that might be a link building tactic for him. And no, it doesn't end.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Stephen, I hope that's what you were looking for. Joseph Asamoah asked a question about transferring from a .co.uk domain to a .london domain. Joseph says, hi, I have a few questions. One of my friends wanted to know if transferring from a .co.uk domain to a .london domain, will that help enhance the site's search engine results page ranking? I said it will make no difference to SEO, but he could change it for branding purposes. What are your thoughts? And two, if he intends to switch domains anyway, do I need to do a 301 redirect to his new site in order to maintain his rankings? Or could I just ask him to wait for his domain to expire and then get a new one? Will that also make any difference to SEO?
So switching from a UK to a London domain in itself isn't going to do anything from an SEO standpoint. He's not going to get some magical rankings out of using a new custom domain extension like .london. So you can discount that straight off the bat. He's going to have to target the .london domain in Google Webmaster tools, back to the UK, for instance, whereas his .co.uk domain is automatically geo-targeted to that region, so he needs to make sure he does that if he's going to change regardless, for branding purposes, for instance. If he does move regardless, then yes, you do need to put in the 301 redirects site-wide, and they need to be page level, so from page A on the old site to page A on the new site. Yeah.
Okay. And Tim, you were going to say something then? Nearly fell off my chair.
Yeah, I would say that I'd probably stick with the .co.uk. And the thing that first you would be redirecting from, let's say if you did move, you'd be redirecting where you would lose a small percentage of passing the page rank across from your old domain to the new domain. But also, just to bear in mind for future reference, because I know you've said you're going to stick with the .co.uk, but for future reference, if you were going to do this and then redirect with the 301, but your comment was that you were going to let the thing, expire at some point, I wouldn't do that in that sense, because if you were redirecting and you hadn't managed to chase through all the links to your site and have them actually directly linked to your site, and then having that 301 in place, when that expired, you'd be losing all of that. Yeah, so in future, even if you did do that, you would still need to maintain that old redirect until you had managed to get all those other links, pointing direct to your site rather than relying on the 301. And if you had let it expire prior to doing that, you would have lost all those links anyway. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, Hardiel Singh, you were muted a moment ago because of feedback, but if you do want to chip into the conversation, all you have to do is unmute yourself using the bar on the top of the chat room here. Okay, next we have a question from Benhart Construction and Remodeling. What is your opinion of the Moz products, Moz Pro and Moz Local? Is it pretty substantial stuff or a waste of time and more importantly, money? He says thanks.
I think they're quite good. I think the link data in there's in Open Site Explorer is not bad. You get access to follower wonk, which is pretty awesome for Twitter type stuff. A Pro subscription as well gets you access to a whole raft of benefits to other services at discounted prices, which is pretty cool. I haven't tested out the local product yet, but or the Moz Analytics, but both I think look pretty reasonable on the surface. In general, my comment about paying for tools is the bigger issue is not really that you're paying for the tool. The bigger issue is whether or not you're prepared to do the work associated with having the tool. Having a tool and getting all of this amazing data without you taking action on it is utterly useless. So if you're prepared to spend the money because you genuinely want to make improvements in business, then just spend the money and get busy doing a better job. If you're not prepared to actually pay for the tool and then actually do the work to, make your site or your business better, then there's just no point in spending money. So, you need to go into this eyes wide open, I suppose, in a sense that having access to the tool hopefully will help you do, a better targeted job of whatever job it is that you're trying to do. but know that you're going in there effectively as a do-it-yourself scenario where you need to take the insights the tool provides and then actually go and do the work. So.
Excellent. Anybody else on this one? Okay, we have a question from Vikrant Singh. Vikrant asks how to conduct an effective pay-per-lead campaign for an online business-to-business marketplace. He's shared this across multiple communities to get diverse viewpoints on channels to adopt and conduct an effective pay-per-lead campaign. And we okayed the question because it is an interesting question. If you're listening to this and do post a question on the SEO Questions community, it's always better just to post it only in one place. Most people are members of multiple communities, and if you cross-post across those communities, it's just boring for everybody coming across the same post. Nobody has a gem of wisdom on ways to gather leads?
Have an amazing product.
Mm-hmm.
Seek out the communities where people that are going to purchase your product congregate online. Start finding out whether or not those communities have got great websites. You know, this is the exact scenario where guest posting, for instance, before it was abused, would be a great scenario. You could guest post, for instance, onto the websites that might be cover the audience for your target market, and put some great content in front of them that extols the benefits of your business or service or whatever it is that you're selling, about why it's so amazing and it's better than the competitors, so to speak, without it being too salesy, of course. So yeah, you need to do research and find out where your customers are online. You could do that through social channels or through things like LinkedIn, Twitter. You know, if it's pure keyword research related stuff, you know, you can. There's a wealth of information in all of the keyword research tools online, like AdWords and others. So.
Yep, fair enough. All right, I'll move on because we've got 30-odd questions to answer tonight, and we're only up to question number 12. James Hancock asks, is it worth going back and retrospectively adding meta tags? James says, greetings one and all, I have a dumb question that I hope you can answer. Imagine a blog that has had over 325 posts since 2009, but no meta keywords or meta description added in that time. How counterproductive will that have been to SEO and page rankings? Is it worth going back and retrospectively adding them in? He also says, thanks in advance for your advice. Go ahead, Tim. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Obviously, we don't know. I mean, he's added these 325 articles over time. I don't know how the, you know, without a little bit more info, I don't know how the title was pulled, you know, within the site. Did it just reproduce a standard, you know, title of that article? Did it actually include the title that you had on the article in the title? You know, so, you know, I mean, your title, if you were going to change, I know you're talking about description and keywords, but one thing to think of is how was that title being pulled, and you might need to tweak those, because of course your title is the thing that's going to appear in the search results, which is going to attract someone. Description and keywords, I would say you're probably okay, because Google is going to pull a description, if you haven't provided one, from the actual content within the site. Content within that page, and it will try and match it, to sort of the query. So you will be getting a description, and in most cases, Google does pull a fairly nice description from it. So in the and the keywords, well, just forget about that. But the meta description, you should be okay retrospective in the long term. What I would do is actually have a look at some of them and see how they're performing in terms of the description and what Google's pulling and setting it as. But if you had the time, I would look at potentially, maybe not all of them, but start with your higher trafficked ones. And you can potentially improve the description, but if your title's okay, you're getting traffic to them, it would probably be one of on my lower list of priorities if I wanted to work through something. But no, I don't think it's. But definitely see what Google is. How Google is pulling the description based on your content, because it might not be great. It might be adding in. Sometimes Google will be pulling in the title, author by, and sometimes it'll be pulling in. You get those weird ones where it will pull in like the contact email address, and in the description that looks totally weird, and it doesn't really entice anyone to actually click on that article. So you may be losing traffic based purely on how Google's pulling that traffic, pulling the description. And in that case, yes, it would be better for you to actually go through and add in set descriptions for those articles. But before you do all that, I would just have a look at how Google is pulling it. Are they pulling it okay? And if they are, then I would put that on the back burner. But if they're not, yes, I would fully recommend sorting out, a great description to the article, which always helps in search, whether somebody's on that decision whether they're going to click through and view it or not.
Great answer, Tim. I can see why Vladimir Putin loves you so much. All right, anybody else?
One quick thing I would say as well is you can obviously go and get the keywords out of Google Analytics or Google Webmaster Tools for the pages in question. So let's say you go and pick the top 50 highest trafficked pages out of your blog as candidates for you to maybe go and test updating the descriptions to see what impact it has. Go and grab the keywords out of Analytics or Webmaster Tools, fire them into Google, see how the description is represented, like Tim suggested, to see whether or not it's not bad or if it's really crap and horrible. If you do go and update them, keep an eye on the data that's in Webmaster Tools, because once you've verified it, it will show you the click-through rate of your for a given URL. So if you go and update your 50 highest trafficked blog articles, and now you've got a really sexy, great description that's compelling. Webmaster Tools will show you that the click-through rate of those URLs now has gone up or down in the SERPs. It'll tell you that your clicks have gone up and down, and that'll obviously be sort of loosely correlated into Google Analytics as well.
Excellent. Okay, I'm sure you'll be happy with that, James Hancock's. Now I have a question from Rahul Chauhan regarding a website that is not indexed in Google. The site is QUATRRO that's the way that the Quattro is spelled. It's quattrosmb.com. And the problem with this website is that it is not indexed in Google after many months. And if you could please suggest some possible solutions, thanks in advance. I actually had a look at this one myself. I couldn't find an answer, but I did uncover a few things. If you try for an SSL, make an SSL request to the site, the website identifies itself as quattrocloud.com. And if you look in domain tools, you'll find that previously on this IP address, not only quattrocloud.com, but .info, .org, .net, .biz, I think .biz, but certainly the others, and all of them 301 to quattrosmb.com. And apparently, it's possible that quattrocloud.com was under a penalty, which of course will have been transferred to the new site because of the 301. It's all in the comments on this question on the Dumb SEO Questions community on Google+. Can you guys see anything else there?
No, I was just looking at the robots.txt file, and he's using allow directive instead of disallow, but Google suggests that they support the allow directive even if it is not in the official page of robots.txt. But I would stick to the normal disallow colon and nothing thereafter, not the star you place it over there, and that would be the official original robots.txt file. But other than that, you should submit a, I don't know, reconsideration request or something from within the Webmaster tools to ask an opinion, or even go to the regular Webmaster tools office hangouts, which are held by John Mueller, which is a Google specialist, and you could ask him directly what's wrong with this website. He might be able to tell you directly what's wrong, and that would spare you from tens of hours of investigations.
Yeah, that's very good advice. Did you? By the way, I'm not sure that you can submit a reconsideration request these days unless you've received a notification of a manual penalty. I think that's the case. Can someone confirm that?
I don't know that for sure either, but that's why I suggested him to go to the regular Webmaster hangouts and ask directly John Mueller.
Fair enough, Arthur. Did you notice on his robots text? Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
You can't submit a reconsideration request anymore without manual action. That's the only way.
Okay, then my bad.
That's okay. No problem.
I gave you wrong advice.
I think they only did that because they knew I was composing one.
Probably because they see everything. They saw you. You should have done that offline.
Arthur, did you notice on his robots text that he's got the advice of a sitemap, which is quattrocloud.com, and all the links in it are for quattrocloud, but all of the links in it are for quattrocloud, but they are redirected to a corresponding link on quattrosmb.
Well, a sitemap won't do any. I mean, the sitemap is designed to enhance the linking crawl number and so on and so forth. It's designed to help Googlebot discover faster your deep URLs, but that site is not even indexed other than the sitemap XML file. So that's not the case. The only case I'm seeing here is the massive redirect, which is on the site. But I don't want to put the verdict, so I invite him to come to the regular meetings and ask directly.
Yeah.
One thing that's also busted about his website, his robots.txt file has allow, so user agent star allow star. That's a little bit weird. Ordinarily, you would either have an empty robots.txt file or go user agent star disallow nothing to allow Googlebot to crawl the whole site, not allow star. Theoretically, allow star would work. Google supports wildcards in robots.txt, but it's still a little bit weird. However, the bigger issue with this robot.txt file is if you download that file and open it in a text editor, you'll see that it's all in one line. So when you open it in a text editor, it actually says user-agent : space star allow : space star, all in one line. That's an invalid robots.txt file. So I would recommend that he corrects that and either delete the file altogether because he wants Google to crawl the site, so he has no need to have one right now, or correct the problem and then go and use the fetches Googlebot feature in Webmaster Tools to make sure Googlebot can actually crawl an arbitrary URL within his website.
Very good advice.
One
right.
more thing I'd like to add on this one.
Go ahead,
as I've remembered, I've run into a similar problem with what Alistair said. If the robots.txt file is not saved as UTF-8 character encoding, Google will not be able to read it. I mean, I had a similar problem. The robots.txt file was edited by I don't know which kind of editor, which saved it as a totally different file. I don't know if I remember correctly which kind of, but it wasn't UTF-8. So I suggest him to save it as UTF-8 until before he uploaded on his website. And I got this error in Webmaster Tools, Google telling me that he doesn't understand the robots.txt file, so he will postpone crawling my website because of that.
Yeah. Excellent, mate. Okay, yep. We're up. I hope that answered that for you, Rahul. Up to question 14 on your run list. It's from Mike Cook. Mike has a client who wants more comments on his site. However, the subject matter is not the most interesting. I have looked at Empire Avenue and other sites. Does anyone have any recommendations?
The thing is, getting comments are going to come when you know, I'm assuming that you know, these pages already get traffic. Do they get traffic or don't they get traffic? I mean, if they start getting traffic because you're creating, you know, great content, and people just aren't really, you know, bothering to comment, then possibly think of integrating something like, you know, the Google Plus comments, or, you know, like Facebook comments onto the page, so that assuming, I mean, this is all assuming that you're getting some form of interaction on your Google Plus or either or on your Facebook. People, once they've read the article, will see those additional comments embedded already, and it might spur your regular readers to actually get involved and start commenting. The thing is, if you don't have that interaction on the social and you're not really getting people coming through onto the site on comments, then it's a question of marketing it out more and putting it out that you can discuss things more. And if you're engaging with people and they're following through, and then it's a bit of a circle, but you need to start that engagement from yourselves first. And enticing people in, obviously, firstly onto your content, and then secondly, getting the ball rolling with comments. It's a bit tricky. It works. The two work hand in hand. Obviously, you need to be providing good content that people want to read. Once you start marketing out there, you will start getting the comments. But of course, if people are a bit more reticent to comment actually on the site, but are keen to comment when you post it into Facebook or Google Plus or things like that, think about embedding that comment feature onto the articles so that it actually, they're either commenting on there and it gives the impression that those comments are being populated with on the page. Then your regular users might be more enticed to actually comment on the actual article itself. There's a couple of things you can try to sort of entice your regular readers to start commenting.
Excellent, Tim. Anybody else? All right. I hope that's what you're looking for, Mike Cook. Vipin Sharma asks a fix for 50,000 404 errors in Webmaster Tools.
I've read the description and what he said thereafter, because he said his website was hacked, and it was injected a PHP script, obviously for hacking purposes and for bad things to happen without the owners of the website knowledge. But the thing is, for this type of issues, is not very good to redirect them anywhere. I would just change from within the website those 404. I would transform them into 410 and wait for Google to drop them. Because if you put them in 410, you get a highly chance of successful dropping from Google. Sometimes, most of the times it happens. So just create a script, if you can do that with a programmer, and just serve Google and all other visitors a 410. You can even personalize that 410, as Google won't mind. But if real persons come accidentally on those pages because they were promoted, you can give them an alternative to go from there to a home page and so on and so forth. Okay, and see what happens then. Of course, erase the 50,000 404s from Google after you implement the 410.
Is his issue not that he's got the errors in Webmaster Tools, not so much that he needs to fix them, but that he's got the 50,000 errors and he wants to potentially get them removed? Obviously, he's corrected the hack. Correcting the hack has resulted in all of the 404 errors in Webmaster Tools. Is he actually asking, how do I remove the actual 404s out of Webmaster Tools? Because there's kind of no easy way to do that. If you mark as fixed, but the page still 404s, then the URL will obviously come back into Webmaster Tools in due course, so that doesn't help you. Another option you could do is the 301 redirect all of the 404 URLs to one URL, and then 404 that one URL, or 301 redirect all of the now broken URLs to a single URL and then apply a meta no index to that one URL. At least that way, the 50,000 URLs that Google sees today that are 404ing won't 404, they'll 301, and then subsequently those URLs would fall out of Google Webmaster Tools in due course, and you'd be left with either one 404 URL or no 404s because you return a meta no index on a static URL, for instance. Might be an option to investigate.
Okay, excellent. Alice, if you just look at the chat there, I just put a comment there. Let's call that one answered, and we have a question now from Swami VK. It's question 24 on your run list. Running the same website on all domains. Swami says, hello all, I have a question for all experts. I'm doing SEO for one of my clients. He has 4 to 5 websites which are separate country bases. He is running the same website on all domains. Is this correct? Please check the websites. They are wagworldboutique.co.uk, wagworldus.com, wagworldau.com, wagworldca.com, and wagworldie.com. Please check and give me your suggestions ASAP. Of course we will, Swami VK.
Well, the thing is we can't access them. I mean, they are not live. We don't know if they are linked one to each other or not.
We can speak theoretically, though, Arthur, can we not?
Yeah, sure. The thing was that
I think the significant thing here is that, sorry to interrupt, but I think the significant part of this question is he's going to put the same content on all of these different domain names.
The problem is not the content but the language. If he tries to tackle different users from different countries, that's okay. If he can do that on all the websites with a hreflang tag, and that's perfectly fine to serve each of these countries, because I'm seeing that he's targeting different countries at the end of the world US, world AU, world CA, world IA. So it's clearly his intention is to tackle different maybe English speaker languages and different countries, continents. So my advice is to use hreflang.
Sorry to interrupt, Arthur, but if the website is the same, is hreflang enough, say, to discern the difference between like the US language and English UK, for argument's sake, or like in one optimized is spelt with a Z, in the other optimized is spelt with an S. If he's using the same page content for all pages, won't it look odd if he's saying with hreflang this is the US language, but all the spelling is wrong?
Yes, well, yeah, go ahead.
So he can come up with hreflang and target ENAU, ENCA, ENUS, ENIE, for instance, if he wants, across those many domains as he wants. The issue I see with this is Google's guidance on this in the past has been that if you were to duplicate a website across ccTLDs, a small number of them, it would be generally okay, and Google wouldn't care too much because they understand that businesses operate in multiple geographic territories, and basically mirroring a website into .au, .nz, for instance, really common. if you were to go and mirror an entire website onto a GTLD, like a .com, so he's got his UK and then 4 .com domains, all carrying the same content, that might be a little bit weird. I don't know how Google would respond to that. I would definitely run the hreflang regardless on the .coms to help Google return it to the right audience, or since he's clearly using the AU-IECA extension, geotarget them in Google Webmaster tools and push those .coms to AU, Ireland, Canada, US, etc., so that they act as if they're on a CCTLD. And if he does that, he can still go and implement the hreflang tags as well if he wants.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Alistair. But the thing is, it will work. I mean, I think it will work if he use hreflang. But I would also suggest him to use the corresponding English words to differentiate the US English from UK English. It's very important. I mean, the grammar, it's important for Google. If you don't spell it in that specific language, and I don't say it won't rank, I'm saying it will be better for as a user experience. I mean, of course, each of the users would rather want to see their I don't know, the information from the website spelled correctly, right? And if you see a website with bad English, you won't be trusting that website that much as if you're reading a correct English and correct grammar and so on and so forth, right?
So there's a couple of things about how Google handles the geotargeting, right? So they look at how you geotarget out of Webmaster tools. If you do that, then they'll obviously honor it. If you don't geotarget it out of Webmaster tools, then they start looking at things like the server IP address and where it's geographically located in the world, the content that's on the page, the language that's on the page, phone numbers that are on the page, currencies, addresses, Google Places listings if they're attached to the business. They're looking for as many signals as they can muster to understand what audience in the world they should return the given page for or website. So other things that they could be doing in here to help would be the various regional domains effectively already run under pounds, Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, etc. in the currency, so that's great. If he could manage it, he should find out and get an address in Australia, Canada, Ireland for his Wagwell business in each of those things, even if it's just a redirect service that pushes the postal mail back to the UK. I would also suggest, if it was practical, he could go and get a local phone number and do the same thing and redirect the local phone number in Ireland back to his phone number in the UK, if that's where his office is actually located, or find someone in Ireland to actually, help him run his Irish business. So he's got an actual business office premise, local phone number, local email address. All of the language stuff has been carried out, like Arthur mentioned, with spelling, grammatical differences, etc. You want to be sending as many signals to Google that you're legitimate and you're not basically spamming it up by duplicating your website as you can.
Fantastic. Thanks, Alistair. And you're shortly about to leave us. Thank you very much for your assistance tonight.
That's okay. I'm out of here.
Cool.
See you all.
Okay, mate. Good
Bye-bye.
night. All right. Gurich, I know that we have a question from you in the chat. As soon as we hit question 30 on the run list, I'll answer that before we deal with the news items. Or at least I won't answer it. I'll ask the question for you. Dale Goodwin asks, can anyone recommend a decent RDF metadata plugin for WordPress?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know any.
I don't know. I don't know. If Tim Capper doesn't know, nobody knows.
No, but your WordPress should have it automatically in with if you're using Yoast, it will add it in automatically for you. But I don't know of a specific one or a recommended one just for that. No, sorry.
I think it'd be good advice to say if you're using WordPress, you should automatically use Yoast, yes?
I mean, there are a couple of good ones, but you know, that is a good one to use.
Right. Okay, Chris M. Classier, who's been with us a long time from our earliest clips. Chris asks, are Google's descriptions getting shorter? I noticed my 150 character description is cut off in the search engine result pages. I thought we had 160 characters. Has that changed?
Well, usually you're using a longer meta description. I mean, even though depends on the topic of your pages, as the meta description should be a resume of the entire page content. It could be also longer, I mean, depending on how many keywords you are targeting on that page, or if it is a long tail keyword, it even could be longer, and Google will pick up the most relevant part of it if it's too long. So it's better to create a not necessarily shorter description. I would go for the longer description, but to be a resume, I mean, to be sure that you encompass in it the most relevant parts of your page content. And just play with it, see how it goes into Google results, see what's changed, see if Google picks it up better compared to the old meta description, and then go ahead and play with it.
Excellent. All right, let's call that answered for Chris M. Clautier, unless anybody has anything to add. I'll take that as a no. James Hancock asks, if guest blogging is dead, what do we do to build links? I'm not sure that guest blogging is dead.
Well, the first thing you do to create links is having great content on your website. That's always the best link baiting possible. So create great content, and that's an official answer. Google is giving this answer to everybody.
Yeah, the thing is if you create great content on your site, you still need to get people to your site to find that content, to share that content, which generates the links. So whilst you are building content for your site, which you should be, you should most certainly be building up engagement with people within the industry. You've got to get out there. Links don't just come to you. You've got to get out there and generate the links. The point is, just think about it this way. Now, firstly, just to get back to your original question, guest blogging's not dead. Okay. Guest blogging from guest blogging platforms is dangerous. Okay. But guest blogging itself is not dead if you are picking, and this has always been the case, the right high-profile, authoritative places. If you pick some poxy little blog that just doesn't get any traffic, and you only chuck a guest blog on there to get some, to get a singular link coming back to your site, I mean, just think about it from the whole perspective of what's that going to achieve? You're going to get one little link, not a great site, are you going to get any traffic? Because the ultimate aim of this also is traffic. It's not just about links, it's also about traffic. So, you know, if you're going to concentrate, like call it guest blogging, whatever you want to do, you know, find a great site firstly. You know, obviously engage, because that's going to make it easier for you in the one sense of you find a great site that's got some decent traffic, you get an article onto there, you know, you should get some traffic coming through. You might get a couple of links, not necessarily to your site in that sense, but of course people will share the guest post, the guest article, which will actually generate links for the actual other site, not for you. So, you know, the ideal place, as Arthur says, for your own site. But you need to build up engagement to present your content, you know, out there for people to find. Once they found that content, found it engaging, you know, they will start coming back to your site for more. So, you know, you can't just expect to chuck great content on your site and expect people to come to it. You need to do some legwork also to let people know that there's fantastic content on your site. You need to do the legwork, whether it be social, other sites, engaging with people within the industry, like-minded people that want to find your content. You need to let them know where your content is.
Tim,
but the best way
can
is...
I add something?
Yeah.
I wanted just to add, even if those links are no follow, I mean, on social media, you will get no follow links, but just don't mind it. Just go with what Tim said. Just go about them even if they are no follow, because your ultimate goal is to increase your human traffic. So you will get those people to read your products if you post on related products, blogs, and any other stuff. So if you're into the auto industry, you don't go to place your links on a cook blog or something like that, because that will hurt you and your site. It's definitely considered spam. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry for interruption, Tim.
No, yeah. Certainly. I mean, exactly what Arthur said. I mean, I would not... A guest blog is generally going to bring you one link. So you need to look at a bigger picture. But no, to answer your original question, guest blogging is not dead. You just need to do the right kind of guest blogging. But ultimately, if you're going to spend time and energy creating a really great article that will go onto a guest blog, why not put that onto your site? Because ultimately you'll need to spend the same time and energy creating that content. But of course, why don't you create that onto your site and then spend time and energy getting, you know, people, whether it be through social, through normal networking, you know, face-to-face meetings, get people to start visiting your site, finding that content on your site, and actually sharing your content and, you know, having traffic to your site. But the point is, you know, it can be done both ways. It's great for building brand, you know, doing guest posting on the right platforms. But your ultimate goal is traffic, and you need to obviously, the whole thing is building that awareness out there to bring them to your content, because your content is what's going to get things shared and generate natural links to you.
Yep. Anybody else? Okay, James Hancock, I hope you're satisfied with that. I'm sure you will be. George Bath asks, which works better? Buttons that are recognizable by the user, or buttons in harmony with the design? He says, hi there, I'm thinking about social action buttons for an informational site with a clear but unfancy design. Really the buttons, not the scripts or widgets. Which do you prefer, the buttons provided by the social networks or self-designed ones? Any known articles about what works better? Thank you in advance for your opinion. Don't fight over it. I don't know. I think I mean, social buttons, they're such an ugly part of the I would go with having the buttons that people will recognize as the buttons we'll use, and not try and do something arty that tones in with your site, because a social button, you want it to be glaringly obvious. So it might as well be ugly as well.
Excellent advice, Jim.
Thank you, Rob. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Joseph Asamoah asks, is it possible for a competitor to use autobots to submit another competitor's backlinks to low-quality sites? Joseph goes on to say, hi, I am investigating some negative SEO, and I was wondering if it's possible for a competitor to use autobots to submit another competitor's backlinks to low-quality sites. There has been a huge spike of links for the past month from my data. After digging, I noticed they were basically non-related sites, spam sites, and most predominantly 404 sites. Now, if it is negative SEO, how do I combat it, and what advice can you give?
Well, to answer your first question, yeah, it's entirely possible. Anybody can point any links to your site, not a problem. The way to combat it is take those domains and add them to your disavow tool. That is pretty much the only thing you can do. Jim will clearly tell you that the disavow tool, there's no such thing that exists.
I'm no longer saying that. I think they've been doing a lot of work recently, and
oh right, have they built it yet, Jim?
Yeah, they finally did build it. I mean, for a year they said it existed and it didn't, but now I believe that they've built it.
Brilliant. Okay, so once you identify all those links, you can pull them out in your Webmaster tools. You can use external tools. Once you identify all the domains, just don't even bother with the individual URL. Just disavow the entire domain. So disavow is basically a text document, and you would disavow it as in domain : and then the URL or the actual domain of the site. So it would be abcd.com, and just disavow the entire domain, and check it once a month, and you can update it as many times as you want. Find it, update it, find it, update it. That is the only protection that you have against this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's all you can do. I mean, unless you wanted to go down the road of actually trying to attempt to contact some of these sites, which is probably going to be massively pointless. Just add the domain, the full domain, to the disavow file. That's the only thing you can do, really.
Yeah, because most of these links will have been generated by somebody getting paid $5 for 5,000 of them on SEOclarks.com or Fiverr.com. The other thing is that the disavow tool is not all-encompassing. It only deals with links to your site. and another negative SEO tactic is to send low-quality traffic from click farms in third world countries. You know, so if you see a lot of IP addresses from Azerbaijan popping up, the only thing you can do to protect yourself from that is to block traversal of that traffic at the firewall, so it doesn't even hit your site. There are many other things that people can do to damage you, and a lot of those are in the reputation management area. If somebody is having a go at you now, it means that you're successful commercially, and you know, if it started and it's starting to affect you, then this is an area that you must focus on if you want to survive long term. Or you could just give up like me and just let it, just suffer it. Anyway, let's call that answered for Joseph Asamoah, unless anybody has something to add. I'll take that as a yes. Niraj Kumar asks, how many authorship photos will display? He said, just now when I signed into Google, I found two things, but what I want to ask is, in this image, he's provided this image, which you can see on the Dumb SEO Questions community on Google+. He said, in the image, there are two author links of mine, and both have profile pictures. Isn't it so that authorship images are usually only one? I know that Tim Capper sometimes has one in English and one in Cyrillic. Maybe not. Any comment from you guys? I see that we've lost Hardeel Singh. Thank you, Hardeel. If you want to rejoin us at any time, you're more than welcome. The question is, Arthur, it's question 21, and Niraj noticed that he actually had on a Google search engine results page two authorship listings. I haven't seen that before. Okay, we'll have to.
Well, I'm trying to understand. In the image, there are two author links of mine, and that too with profile pictures. Didn't we know that authorship images is one and only one? Well, I didn't see this exception until now. So he has two profile pictures, and both of them are listed in the Google search, or what?
Yeah, that's right. So I guess that means that both of him were the best answers or the most relevant answers for that particular search query.
Yeah, we need more details on this. Maybe he can upgrade the question with some data, with some real data, to see what he means. Maybe a print screen or something. And
well, he actually has provided that in the Dumb SEO Questions community on Google+. He did provide a screenshot.
Okay, then we have to take a look, and because here it's not attached, and we will take a look, and we can get to him next week with an answer.
Yeah. On your run list, you will find, if you click the title of the question, that will take you direct to the question on the community.
Yeah, I did that because I wanted to see the print screen.
And did you not notice he's got two photos there?
I just see the live dumb SEO questions YouTube video, and that's it. I can't find the.
I'll give you this link. It's actually on your run list, Arthur.
Yeah, no, I know. I clicked on it. I got on the website, but I can't see the. I can't see his print screen link to go to see it. It's just the question as it is here.
Look, I use a different report to yours. I use the queue timer report so that I can add the queue times as we create them. Maybe in the panelist report, the link is a different one. Let me just have a look at that.
I can give you the link leads here. And it's interesting that I can't see his print screen link.
Okay.
The original question.
Yeah, this is the one that I have from my queue time report.
And if I click on the Google Plus, I'm having there a below link which says go to view the original. This is the one. I have it, and it gives me a 500 error. 500, that's an error. There was an error. Please try again later. So I can't access that page.
I see.
So maybe I have a problem on my side, you know. So I can't answer this question now, but we can get back to him later. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
No problem, Arthur. I've certainly got problems on my side. All right. Let's look at question 22 for Preeti SEO, who wants you to suggest techniques to boost a particular page. She goes on to say, I have done many things to boost this page, and it's www.iwf.co.in/motor-insurance/2-wheeler-policy page. Actually, if you want that actual link, you can copy it from the question in the SEO Questions community on Google+. She goes on, but all of the keywords targeting this page are on the 11th position. You can search anyone like two-wheeler insurance policy, bike insurance online, etc. And it's been about 4 months on the same position. Please suggest some good technical or non-technical techniques to boost this page. It's urgent. I built many backlinks from different sites, but this page is not getting improved, I guess she meant to say. Hello, well, Klaus Bandish. I see Klaus has joined us from New York.
Good morning.
And you're muted. Morning, mate. Go ahead, Arthur.
I was just, he said he used a lot of techniques. I mean, I don't know in which techniques he used. He doesn't say, but it's definitely, he's trying to target more keywords in one page. Maybe these are tough keywords to compete with. Maybe he has some tough competitors and it's not enough to optimize the on-page content. Maybe he needs to chase backlinks, more backlinks from the industry to be more relevant. So I don't know how to help him unless I run a specific analysis on him and his competitors for the same keyword. So it's not a simple answer, just do that or do that. Okay? so I can't help him within a second on this one.
Yep, fair enough. Anybody else? Actually, it's her, Arthur. Well, does that make a difference?
No, unfortunately.
Can anybody help me with more to answer with Preeti's issue? I think that she's trying to, I mean, from a single page, trying to win for two-wheeler insurance policy, bike insurance online, and so on. Why? You know, like, why try to win for both keywords from the same page? If that was a good tactic, surely everyone would just build one-page websites. Does that make sense?
Yes, on a side it makes sense, but as I told you, I'm looking at the page. I've looked before at the page. It seems to me that it's a thin content. It's just 2 paragraphs of text, and it's more on the. It's a lot of things on the. Oh no, I'm sorry, my bad. I had a drop-down menus on each of the particularities, on key benefits, on what the policy does not cover, and so on and so forth, what the policy covers, which were tied up. So I'm seeing a lot of pop-ups, like rich tooltips with a lot of text on them. So explaining the terms within the text. But that's something that Google can read too. So yeah, that definitely needs an analysis, but I will step down for anybody who can give it a direct answer right now.
I know Tim's been away for coffee or something. Tim, did you have a look at this page for Preeti?
Sorry, Jim, what's the page?
Okay, I'll find that for you. It's
what question is it?
Number 22.
Oh, 22.
I'll put this link in the chat. And look, I'm even removing the bracket dot so that you can just click straight there.
You're so smart. So many things to do still.
I imagine this would be region specific. Like I don't imagine in some countries people would be seeking a two-wheeler insurance policy, would they?
And it looks like it. I mean, me on the first impact, I'm seeing a lot of reviews, all of them 5 stars, which is kind of, I don't know, for me it's weird. I mean, they look almost like artificial reviews and ratings on this page. But if they are managed to climb on the 11th position, maybe Google doesn't see it as I do. A lot of links in the menu.
I can say on google.com.au, I'm finding Preeti's site in position 5 for the search two-wheeler insurance policy. And I also see that the winning pages are all located in India. Now they're .co.in sites. Oh, there's an iccbank.com. That's not necessarily India, but let me just have a look.
One thing I just want to point out to them is, well, you know, eZine articles on Add My Articles, PR link directories, you know, you just, yeah, you know, at some point this is going to catch up with you, and I would seriously stop putting these. That is for certain. You know, I would potentially try to create some, you know, some articles, some good ones on your own site, and yeah, because you know those links are going to catch up with you. I would probably look at, yeah, I'm just looking at your actual page itself.
Yeah, on my side, it's number 7 ranked in Romania, and there are still 1,460,000 results. So it's a very popular term, and it's still on number 7. It's true that most of them are coming from India, but even though it seems that your page is doing well on search results, probably back there in India, maybe your term doesn't get so high rankings, but from my side is doing well. Yeah, you can adjust a little bit. I mean, if I were you, I would remove some of the links from the main menu because you have a lot of content in the main menu. I would put only the main ones. Yeah, I'm seeing what you are doing here. You want people to buy directly from the menu, which I don't find it that good. I mean, people has to see what they want to buy first, right? Even if it is insurance, they need to read some data. They need to read. I mean, I don't think all of the people know that well this product. I mean, it's not a gum, it's chewing gum or I don't know, a toy to know what you are buying, right? You have to compare the conditions and so on and so forth. So I think the buy online button and the rest of the things from the menu are not necessarily a good thing right in the menu. So I would get that down. But anyway, your page is doing fine from my point of view in Google, even if there are some small adjustments that need to be made.
What was your search term?
My search term was two-wheeler insurance policy.
Yeah, and my term was two-wheeler policy insurance. I mean, I switched the last 2 terms.
I notice if I go to google.co.in, it is 11 as Preeti says, and I see in the chat here Andy Wigglesworth. Remember Andy? He said that it's number 3 for him in the UK.
Mine, it's number 9.
Yeah, so you are doing fine. I mean,
yeah, all of the sites that are beating Preeti are all Indian sites, even though some of them are .coms. So
yeah,
there must be a very popular term in India.
And they are all stuffed with keywords, so it seems that there is a normal trend over there. I mean,
where are Preeti's links coming from, guys? Are they coming from India or elsewhere?
As I said, just on that page itself, They're using a lot of article marketing comments. Yeah, not great, and I think at some point those will catch up to you. So you need to probably spend a bit more time looking at a better source for these.
I mean, somebody has to know two-wheeler if that's what they want. But if somebody's searching for insurance policy for two wheels, for example, not showing anywhere. So anybody out there looking for insurance, doesn't know any names, they're not going to put in two-wheeler. They're going to put in motorcycle insurance policy.
Yeah, and I mean, and coming from India, I'm sure you use. I mean, I don't know what the particular terms are, but you guys have a lot of like, what do they call them? Scooters. You know, those like 50 cc's and 125 scooter moped things. You might want to look at repurpose. You know, putting something in there about the different. You know, do you see what I mean? I mean, do a little bit of investigating on what people sort of, when they look at, you know, the majority of the kind of motorcycles out there, what they you know, refer to them as, and potentially have a little section in there where you're splitting them down on what coverage you use on two-wheelers. I mean, I'm not entirely au fait with the insurance industry, but I'm presuming a moped and anything going over like a 125, a 250, you know, I mean, you have different bands and brackets. You might want to, there might also be a good, something good for the user, because he can automatically pick an engine size or a model, you know, that could be quite good. And like Klaus was mentioning, that's going to diversify your, you know, your semantic search possibilities.
Yeah. I would definitely zoom in on this page and concentrate on one item and make this a hot page. If it was me, I would put an H1 tag into your HTML. I would completely restructure your architecture in the HTML. It's kind of backwards here. You have your you know, your title should be all the way on the top, and your meta information is below the title. So I don't know what kind of a program generated this page, but I would definitely concentrate on, you know, 50 cc mopeds, or like Tim said, to zoom in on something that people know, that is referred to, giving it a popular name. Just make this page strictly for this one item. And then you can put a link saying, you know, if you have a car or blah, 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 click here, you know. But let Google know that you're an authority for scooters of 50 cc's on this page here. This is how I would do it. But for me, the H1 tag always helps. You put the H1 tag way on the top of the page, and that's what I would do. I would also rewrite the text. Your text looks a little bit spammy, you know. So I would just close my eyes and click on your dictator and tell a small story about what you do, and write it more semantically rather than keywordly. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You talk as if the customer is sitting right in front of you, rather than having to write a page.
Yeah. Well, look, I think we've covered this. Everybody agree? I'll take that as a yes. Devin Peterson asks us a hypothetical question, and I'm not sure we'll be able to answer it. But anyway, it's titled "Consider a way to implement negative keyword requests." He doesn't mean negative SEO. He means, you know, like in AdWords, you can use a negative keyword so that if that keyword does show up, the ad won't show, regardless of whether it fits the rest of the criteria. Devin goes on to say, I'm a big proponent of the implementation of negative keywords for use in organic search, much like how they are used in AdWords. Should have read that before. He said, I don't really know why it's not used, but if it were used, hypothetically, how might one go about implementing negative keywords? Or what could be a reasonable method for search engines to start considering negative keyword requests? My fictional neg keywords tag was just an example. Any thoughts, insight, or suggestions will be greatly appreciated. Another way to answer my question is to put yourself in the search engine's shoes and consider a way to implement negative keywords requests. How would you do it? Additionally, what drawbacks could there be? Black hat, spam, or misuse? Devin, I think there are so many things to occupy our minds, things that Google or any search engine may or may not use. I think that's the path to madness, mate. Anyway, what do you guys think?
Well, the negative keywords are already used in search engine. I mean, you can type in Google keyword, maybe let's say you want to search for eggs and you don't want dinosaur eggs, and you put a minus dinosaur without a space between the minus and the word, and Google will not show you the results related to dinosaur eggs. So it's used, and it's used on a large scale. I mean, for people who knows that you can do this thing on Google, you can advanced search, and Google is doing just fine by returning great results to the users who are using the negative search. So as far as the implementation on your website, you can even do something right now by not using those keywords for which your website, for which you don't want to appear in search results. I mean, if you don't want to appear for dinosaur eggs, you don't have to put dinosaur on your website. It's that simple. You can even, I mean, it's true, there are some words which goes related in order to avoid the common language, but you can avoid certain words in your content, and that should be enough to avoid adding a tag or something to implement the negative keywords. I mean, even if I remember correctly, even Matt Katz had answered in the past a video related to this. If I remember correctly, somewhere I've seen it. I just don't remember right now exactly which video, in which he said he got a lot of other suggestions for the enhancement of Google, but, well, it needs to be feasible in the first place to be implemented. I'm not sure that this one will be that feasible to worth the trouble to implement it. But anyway, that's my answer.
I wish I'd let you make your answer before I made a fool of myself. Anybody else? Okay, we're going to call that answered. Thank you for your question, Devin. Swami VK, we answered that one earlier. I can pass that one. Roderick Van Binst. Roderick asks, is there a tool that can provide search volume trends by the time of day? More or less like Google Trends, but it allows the gathering of data by the hour of the day. Thanks.
Nothing that I know.
Yeah, the same. I agree with Klaus. Nothing that I know of. I mean, Google Trends is the closest. Maybe SEMrush can provide that, but not by the hour. I didn't see that in their interface. And they are great with the keywords, but not that specific. I know what he means. He means that he wants to use Google AdWords maybe to place and to post the bids by the hour, that the interface allows it, and to know which keywords to bid by knowing which keywords are best used by the hour. I mean, maybe there are others who tried this. If this is the case, I don't know how others solved it. I thought about it. I think about it for many times, but I couldn't find an answer to this.
Just by way of disclosure, SEMrush are providing our regular panelists with a copy of their subscription at the guru level. How are you finding it, guys?
Well, so far I'm impressed with it. They have a lot of data, a tremendous amount of data, and it's quite nice that you can get everything at the tip of your fingertips, of your fingers. And yeah, well, I love it, the interface and the way the data is in here. Even though
SEMrush?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I would love to see more on the outside, on the outside of the US, on the other search engines for other websites. So the other database they've gathered to be as complete and as large as the US one, as I found some websites which are not based in the US. They have other TLDs which are not so, they are not doing that great, but other than that, it's just an impressive amount of tools gathered under the SEMrush name. So I love it so far.
Yeah, I use it a lot. I just provided a link to one of my sites, but it doesn't give you any trends for what that question is really referring to.
Yeah. SEMrush does have the other search engines, though, Arthur. If I'm sure you'll find them there, also you can select different countries as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. But they are not. I mean, they do need to gather a lot of data from the other ones. I mean, I'm using Romanian database, and that's a bit difficult to find data on that, but I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm saying that as an improvement. It's an improvement suggestion. So
Yep.
Guys, don't take it as a bad thing. It's very nice to have it, and I'm using a lot on the other websites. So.
Okay. All right, Lindsay Siegel has asked us for your thoughts on using the keywords meta tag. She goes on to say, I'm looking for opinions. What are your thoughts about using the keywords meta tag? I know that Google has stated that it doesn't matter for rankings. A year or so ago, when I talked to Bruce Clay, he was still recommending using them, and he has specific guidelines for doing so. For example, exactly how many words should be included, how often words can repeat, etc. Are any of you using keywords meta tags? Yes. And if you are you following specific guidelines? No.
Keywords are out in the medical, you don't use them anymore unless you want to still rank, maybe, at Yahoo or at Bing or what have you. But what Google is concerned, they read the page, no more keywords. You don't even need a description, literally. Google will make a snippet for you.
This is true. It's quite true, but Bing also has said that they don't use the keywords meta, and I think also
I don't use it.
they don't work for Yahoo either. But as I say, I use them on all of our sites. I don't know if we get any benefit. I've never bothered to try and see on SEOquestions.com. But the rule that I follow is that the keywords meta, I put one or maybe two keywords per question that we're talking about. Here we're talking about the keywords meta tag, and so the keywords, the information inside the keywords meta tag on the SEOquestions.com website would just contain probably keywords meta tag, and that's all. We don't use it.
Yeah, I don't. I still tend to try and use it. I don't. It's not for an SEO benefit because search engines don't really read it. The reason I have a meta tag, a keyword meta tag in my page, and I would never sort of maybe one or two, but the reason I tend to use it is when I'm using for AdWords and I want to look at that page and you use the URL and your keyword tool in AdWords, it tends to provide me with a much better keyword suggestion list than if the page never had the keyword meta tags filled in. I don't know why. I think AdWords still uses if somebody's used the keyword meta tag, it tends to provide me with better suggestions and results. So for the AdWords, I can plan a better campaign and have a larger amount of keyword data. So that's the only reason I add one or two to my pages.
Yeah.
As an SEO benefit, no, there isn't one.
Right. I don't even know if it's a benefit for AdWords, but I never use AdWords. I make sure I rank organically.
Okay. And Arthur Delascu is leaving us. He has another conference to go to in Romania. Thanks, mate, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, our next question. Actually, I posted this, and look, I only posted it in the community just as a reminder. Each of our questions answered on our SEO Questions Hangouts on Air has a queue time attached to it, and it's archived on SEOquestions.com. And each of those pages allows for anybody to offer or suggest a reference link. And in this case, Raymond Ware produced a fix for the issue asked in the question. It was a question originally answered by Alistair Lattimore and Tim Kappa. And Raymond Ware created a fix for WordPress sites, and he left a comment. And in return, we have added a reference link to his site from this questions page. And we encourage you to assist us, and particularly if we answer a question for you and it does help you, we ask that you publish a note about it in the hope that will become more widely known and others might benefit. Any comments on this one, guys? We'll take that as a no. We'll move on to the next. Happy to Sate asks, how to SEO a post on Pinterest?
Yeah, I think I answered this one. I mean, I took a stab at it because I've never really spent much time on Pinterest. There's only one site that I've needed to kind of, upload. Obviously, Pinterest is visual, so if you're an accountant, unless you're a really good-looking accountant, you're not really going to get any traction there. So it has to be a very visual. It's only image-based. The way I've basically set it up was obviously the main board was under the topic or the main overall topic of the site itself, and then boards within that main board were individually labeled, so sectioned out so that you're providing images which are relevant to those sections. So kind of like a website, you've got your overall main keyword, and then you've got individual categories within that. If you're, what I've also tended to do was I've never added the images direct to Pinterest. I've always added them via the page, the page URL, and obviously you use the alt text on your images. So when you share that image, or I think they call it pinning it, pinned it, when you pin that image to the particular board that's relevant, because you've added an alt text to your image on your side, that gets pulled through. I tend to then also expand it slightly more because your alt image text is more refined, and you tend to just give it a little bit more of an explanation, like you would a description, a meta description, a really nice little description to it. The better the description, the more interaction. People tend to repin or pin your actual image. So that's the way I've gone about it. But I've never really spent a lot of time. But good descriptions. Make sure that your image you pin it from your URL. Don't just upload the image direct, and give it a decent description. Those are my takeaways.
The demographic of Pinterest is about 70% female, Tim, apparently.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
yeah.
you don't spend all your time there.
No, mate, it's image-led, you Wally. No chicks on Pinterest. It's like bathrooms and bedrooms and, flipping curtains and dresses and nice pictures of holidays and beaches, and if there were chicks on the beaches, I'd probably be looking on Pinterest, but no.
Okay.
But I tell you what, it is a really good source of traffic if you have an image-led based site. It's really, a good source.
Okay, well, happy to state, I'm sure you'll be satisfied with that. Charu Rastogi asks, is sitemaps created for different categories is the title. How does the Google algorithm work for sitemaps created for different categories and sections? He says, say I have a big website and I want to segregate the XML sitemap for each category. How will Google treat that? I'm facing an issue as it is not updating on a regular basis.
Right. You don't want to segregate. It has to be one map for the entire page, as for the whole website.
I'm not sure about that because there's a limit, of course. If there's a maximum of 50,000 URLs, and also I think there's a size limit of 10 megabyte for the entire file. So,
well, for one thing, a sitemap makes sure that all pages are linked. Yeah. So if you start pulling sections apart, then you need another map that shows the two segregated maps linking together. And
that's true. You must provide it.
Yeah, so it has to be one sitemap for the entire website, and that's it. Google will determine how deep they will go. Yeah, but there's only one XML sitemap, not two or three for one website.
Look, I've got it. I'm sorry, Klaus, to be in a disagreement with you, but it's my understanding, and I have studied it, that it doesn't matter how many you have. Of course, you must have a primary index XML sitemap, which has a link to each of your sections.
Yeah, it starts at the index page and then it goes where it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you meant? I guess that's what you meant. Yeah. Okay. All right. But like, say for argument's sake, the Google Plus, the Google Plus has sitemaps, but they listed on another site. Let me try and find a URL for you guys. I'll put it in the chat.
Well, that's maybe an internal Google thing, but for us in the public, we have different rules there.
Sorry I'm taking so long with this. No, I can't find it. Anyway, look, I'll look for that and try and bring it up later. All right, we now head on to question 30 on our run list from E. Dieter Martin, who is trying to rank for a certain service area spanning 2 counties. He says, each county has a total of 350 towns and neighbourhoods. A wild guess, there are 200 different zip codes. How do I describe this area best on the website alone? Using a Google Plus business page is easy. List the zip codes or take a centre and a radius around it. But do I really end up listing 350 neighbourhoods on a single page? That's going to really look ugly. Ideally, I'd hope to just name those 2 counties and be done with it.
Well, it all depends on what one is going to search for. So if somebody is going to search by zip code, then he wants to have that zip code covered. He has to look and see what people are looking for, and that's what he needs to cover on the page. In the early days, I used to put a zip code on the bottom of my website. So if somebody was searching for Maui weddings, 95223, then that was good. Yeah. Of course, he can list all 350, but he can list, 5 or 6 top ones.
Yeah, for me, the thing is, when I've looked at, I know what he's talking about is he's obviously serves people in those locations. So yeah, Google, obviously the local or the business pages, whatever you want to call it these days, you can expand your map to cover a 50-mile square radius or whatever around from a particular area, and that's all encompassing for your maps. But if you actually do a little bit of keyword research, you will find that there may or may not be when someone's searching, it always tends to be by the county, and then potentially 1 or 2 larger areas within that county rather than every single area code. I would probably create a category for the 2 or 3 counties that you you said the 2 counties that you serve, and within those 2 pages, some good content detailing those 2 different areas that you serve. On that page, also specifically pick up maybe 2 or 3 of the largest cities within that county, so that you're creating 2 decent, landing pages. You've got that contextual information that you're giving to Google right there on your 2 separate pages. So you're not having to, in effect, add all these zip codes and make it look ugly and messy. And of course, what you would want to do is in the address in your footer is also link it to your Google Map, which creates that kind of link that, yeah, this is this is your business address, but your map says we serve people within this area. And what you can also do is in your Google Maps, you can also stipulate the 2 actual areas that you serve. So if you drill down into your Google Maps now, you can actually stipulate the different areas. So you don't have to do a random 50 square mile. You can just specifically say it's this county and this county that you serve. So that's always worked quite well for me, is create the two landing pages specifically for the 2 counties, and then break down within that page 2 or 3, maybe even 4, of the larger villages or towns within that county. So you're providing the information to the user. It's easy for them to see. It's also easy for Google to read and understand.
Yeah.
I muted myself. I'm such an idiot. I'd just like to inject a word of caution. If somebody did attempt to go against Tim's great advice and add in all of those postcodes or zip codes, and generally it's very, very thin content, you'll more than likely find yourself penalised for it. Certainly, we have here in Australia a niche site which is essentially a directory, and as a policy from the outset, we decided that one representative, one postcode, and we would not fill a postcode unless we had a representative for it, and we've been rewarded for that. It meant that the site grew very slowly as people came online, and we didn't have empty postcodes or empty regions. But long term, it's given us top 5 positions for every page that we've put up. So it pays not to spam. All right, that's the last of our questions. We've done it again, guys. Thank you very much. We now move on to our news roundup. Each week we gather interesting articles which popped up in the previous 7 days and add them to the SEO news community on Google+. And once a week we discuss each of those items. The first one is was found by Edwin Yonk, a traffic directing service directing to Google, and this was an interesting article. I won't attempt to read it all, or will I, Tim? I'll read it.
What's the article? Where's the link, Jim? To be honest, I haven't even got round to any of the articles.
No problem, mate. Today's Thursday. Okay, all right. Look, I'll read the article. It's number 31 on your run list. I'll just briefly explain it. Unmasked parasites is a great blog. It's run by a Russian guy who has something to do with security, I think. He's certainly very active on the malware forum on Google+. Just can't think of his name right now, but anyway, he posted about a spammer who was dumping unneeded traffic back to Google, and it was he posted the link chain which showed that the spammer, depending on the query and the person making the query's location, either placed them to a page where they could buy whatever they were looking for, but if they didn't have a really good match, they would simply send them back to a Google search, and so the user wouldn't be alerted to the fact that they'd just gone through a spam house. This can be read on the SEO News community on Google+. Did any of you guys read this article? No? Okay. Let's pass on that one.
No, I'm just having a glance through it. But yeah, I mean, these guys are clever. You got to give it to them, you know. It's yeah, you know, they redirect it back to a search query on Google, basically, so that, yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
I must say, not far from me, or at least, well, not far in Australian terms, about 100 kilometres up the road in Brisbane, there's a car park full of shiny German cars, and they do this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be, yeah.
Yeah, seriously, these blokes have got more Mercedes-Benz than the Third Reich.
No.
All right. Next article is also posted and found by Edwin Yonk, and thank you, Edwin, for the effort that you put in for us. And it's a post by Tim Capper, and thank you, Tim, for what you do. But the title of Tim's article was, "What if I told you that the Payday Loans Update 3.0 never happened?" And it said, intern, and Edwin Young added the note, intern update, because if it feels and looks like an intern is doing the job, it probably is. Tim Capper said, Google has made such a big song and dance over this, and it has never really caught the spam queries. The first one was unsuccessful. The second and most recent did clean up the first page, but not the second page results, and certainly did not clean up longer tail spam queries such as instant payday loans. This leads to a link on onlineownership.com/payday-loan-3-0-the-intern-update.
Jesus, Jim, read out the whole URL, why don't you?
Give me a shorter URL, Tim, next time.
Bloody hell,
all right.
Say, read the frickin' blog.
Okay.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is...
Go ahead.
Look, this article is a bit tongue-in-cheek, really. You know, Google's got a hell of a bloody job on their hands. We can just see from that previous article on how these black hats, you know, are working. They work very clever. Google's got one hell of a job. The only thing that the article is really about is, look, 3.0, there's been no visible effects whatsoever. 2.0 on Payday Loans Update, yeah, you know, that really did do a pretty good job. But like I said, it only sorted out the actual spam query, short tail payday loans. But you go to page 2, even now, there's still sites which shouldn't be there. and longer tail, instant payday loans, quick payday loans. They're all still appearing page 1, position 2, 3. They're all still there. And although they made a bit of a song and dance that they were in this one, they were going to be looking at sort of Viagra and Cialis and all that. It hasn't happened. You know, yes, if you type in Cialis or Viagra, yeah, for sure they've cleaned that up. But what about buy Cialis? I mean, a quick search in .co.uk for me on buy Cialis revealed 5 out of 10 were hacked sites redirecting. You know, that clearly hasn't been sorted out. So, you know, it's a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but they've got a lot of work to do. It's going to be, and I suppose it's always going to be ever evolving. But I mean, the only reason I did publish this was because Google did go out of the way and make. I mean, I think Matt Cutts tweeted about it 3 or 4 times that they were rolling it out now, which has made no difference whatsoever from the 2.0 rollout results. So yeah, that was the only reason I made a bit of a tongue-in-cheek article about it. But you know, there's no denying they're going to have a tough time clearing that up. But it's, you know, they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah. Anybody else with a comment on Tim's article?
No.
Okay. Another one was on PR sites getting hit. This one was an article written by our good friend David Amerland, or at least he shared an article on PR wire services, Google Meltdown, it was titled. He said, right out of the gate, in my very first SMT Power Talk for social media today, we hit on some spot-on trends. Steve Martin called it first when he suggested that the PR industry has had its day unless it changed. And my other guest, Alex Kate, drove the point home when he said that unless you are prepared to be human and establish relationships, no amount of apps is going to save you. I won't try and read the rest, but it's on the SEO News community on Google+. Comments, guys? I like the comment above the graphic there. Traditional marketing is living the last sands of an inverted hourglass. Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe not. Nobody with input to this article?
No.
Okay. Let's go to the next. This is another post found by Edwin Yonk by Jean-Christophe Lavacat. And it's Google Trends unveils the power of the knowledge graph. Most of you know of the tool Google Trends, and some have heard of the Google Knowledge and/or Freebase. But I guess that very few of you know that these 3 entities are closely related and have a huge impact on semantic search. In this article, inspired by guess who, David Amerland's work, I describe how Google Trends and the knowledge graph are connected. This gives you an idea of the mechanisms in action when you perform a search query on Google. I won't read the rest, but you'll find it on the SEO News community on Google+. Comments, guys? Don't fight over it.
Are we on number 35?
I'm not sure the number. We're on number 34.
Oh. I was wondering.
I must say, I saw a comment from Matt Cutts about the knowledge graph, saying they're going to be looking at ways to compensate people who that Google scrapes to get information for the knowledge graph. But to me, it's a wonderful thing. We try to push for we try to set up our client sites and everything that they do so that to give them every chance of appearing with a knowledge graph entry. I think they're just fantastic for branding, particularly when you combine it with an AdWords campaign for the brand term. So across the page, you've got the AdWords block, you've got the knowledge graph on the right, and then underneath that, you've got the organic search result. It just looks fantastic. I mean, the brand is dominating that search engine result. No comments? Okay. This is going to be an early night. Edwin Yong found another one. Semantic SEO, more answers, less clicks. Was wondering about this. Here are some more examples by Dean Cruddace, and it's in the blog, in the SEMrush blog. I won't try and read it out, otherwise Tim Capper will laugh at me. But you can find the link on the SEO News community on Google+. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this one obviously titled Semantic SEO, more answers, less clicks. Personally, I don't, the examples that this blog, this article gave, I personally don't see it as detracting or giving more answers that wouldn't require the user to click through. Some of the ones that I've seen where they've used from, for example, Wikipedia, not in this article, but by the way, but some of the ones I've seen them where they've provided information where that they've scraped from like Wikipedia and that, I don't think the user would need to click through to Wikipedia. However, in the ones that they've done here, is like, how to put on nail polish. In that one particularly, I don't think, look, and I'm not an expert, but I don't think these ones would answer the question fully, and I think that people would still want to click through. I think this would provide more clicks because it actually provides more information than in the normal description snippet part in the search result underneath, in the search result. It actually provides a good bit of chunk of information more. It then provides the link to the site right underneath it. I think personally that that's going to provide more clicks through because it creates a very visual focal point. It gives them the information. It doesn't give them all the information. In fact, I think in this instance it would definitely provide more clicks through to the site than than in the standard search results. In these instances, I don't think it's stealing clicks away. However, I can see that if it answered it straight off the bat, then yeah, it certainly could remove some clicks from it. But of course, you must remember these are just snippets, and if people are searching for some information, they might see the snippet. It gives more than you would be able to see in a normal descriptive character set in the search results. So people may be more inclined. One thing I would say is potentially out of your first couple of paragraphs, don't answer what the actual query is about. I would probably leave that further down in the article and start thinking, when you're crafting an article, potentially to create a great, compelling introduction, which Google may, if keep in mind like that, if they were to display this in a in a semantic way in the for the query, keep it compelling so that the actual user might still want to click through to your article. Don't kind of answer the question straight off the bat. But these are things that we all need to think of as it develops. Anyway, I need to run. Okay, Tim, thank you for your contribution this week. We'll see you same time next week, I hope. But barring, any escalation in the Cold War. Okay, all right. Next is an article. I like this guy. He's got spunk. How I dominated the UK SEO SERPs. I don't like what he does. I think churn and burn. While I don't doubt that it works, I don't think it's all that clever. Eventually, you'll get caught, and one day, if you irritate Google or Bing enough, they'll think of other ways to make sure that your sites don't rank, and maybe those of your children and the sites of your children's children. But anyway, at the moment, by churning and burning, he's able to rank a site and get away with it for 6 months. And over that 6 months, for around about a £300 investment, he gets a return of about 11,000% on the investment, or something of those figures. Don't shoot me if I'm wrong. But Richard Hearn posted it with the please tell what's stopping you doing this to a competitor that starts a new website. They'll think that they are gods too for 6 months or so. And he said the silence is deafening. What he means is that the silence from Google is deafening. But you'll find a link to this site in the SEO news community on Google+. It's titled How I Dominated the UK SEO SERPs, God of SEO. It's obviously not the shy and retiring type. He's tagged it, the tagline of take a look of how I dominated the UK SEO SERPs using this churn and burn method, which you can replicate and use in your industry. While that's true, I think it's more, don't try this at home. But anyway, Klaus, any thoughts on this? No, Klaus has left me. Rob and Andy, I think both of you guys are away at the moment, eh? So, I've got nobody here. Well, that's great. Andy is otherwise involved. He let me know. Rob has been having trouble connecting. Okay. All right. I'll push on regardless. All right. The next one, number 37 on our run list, was one also found by Edwin Yonk. It's a screenshot of Google's new rejection notices for reconsideration requests. It was originally published by Search Engine Land, most likely by Barry Schwartz. And there's a screenshot there. It's fairly self-explanatory. Not much of, no dramas with any of that anyway. And you can see this in the SEO news community on Google+. Next one was Panda for needed because author rank is live. This was an article posted by a lady. Let me just see if I can quickly bring it up. And
the lady has posted a couple of articles alleging that AuthorRank is live. I'd love for Janet Driscoll Miller to join us on Dumb SEO Questions and discuss this. I personally don't think we'll ever see AuthorRank affecting organic search, because Google wants the best possible results, and allowing an influence from AuthorRank, which maybe 0.001% of all searches have bothered to set up or are able to set up effectively, just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, she posted what I thought was a good article, and it's worth a read. You'll find it on Search Engine Land, Panda 4, Redefining Site Authority. Let me see, is anybody back yet? Klaus, you're back, man. Thank you very much. We're talking about Panda 4. It's the article on the SEO News Community titled that was Panda 4 needed because AuthorRank is live. What's your opinion on AuthorRank?
I've been watching it fairly close, and I've seen the author's picture come and go on several occasions, different time periods. So I think Google recognizes author ranking. No matter where you rank, but it has no effect on ranking itself.
I agree. I mean, there's no doubt that they're using it for segments which aren't actually part of organic search. They might be on the page interspersed with organic search, but they're clearly labelled as separate from the organic results with a name like in-depth articles, for argument's sake. I mean, it's clear that they're using AuthorRank for that, but interestingly, most of the authors that do appear in in-depth articles don't have the plumbing set up for AuthorRank.
Right. My picture shows up. I don't care what you look for, but then I have competitors that do have their plumbing set up properly, and their picture comes and goes, mainly goes.
Yeah. So in my case, if my picture were to show up, it might even be a disadvantage.
Well, you have to change the picture. But, you know, that's the reason why it's there. You know, it's not just something that doesn't do anything for Google. So it does have an influence on something. We just don't know exactly what it is. But I am pretty sure it's part of the initial algorithm that is being run before a site gets displayed on the SERPs.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. I know that I don't. Rob or Andy, are you guys back here? All right. Let's move on from that one. We have one last question from the SEO News Community on Google+. It was an article posted by Rob Mars. The WebMeUp all-in-one app will be discontinued. Rob said, somehow I saw this coming. And he refers to a link on webmeup.com/shutdown.html. He said, remember though that the backlink tool will stay active. I think, or at least Rob thinks, I saw him posting in the chat earlier on while we were in the green room. Oh, hello, Edwin Yong. Edwin is CEO of IDShost.nl, a web hosting firm in the Netherlands. You're just in time for the last news item of the night, Edwin.
Well, I didn't have any invites.
You didn't get an invite?
No, I did ask.
That's funny because I invited our permanent list, and I sat here for a while and nobody came, and so I reran the invitations with the core list that we use. You know, we've got two lots of 9. So yeah, the notifications must have failed us tonight.
And normally it is on your profile. Then you see Jim is hanging out with X number of people.
It's not there?
No. Normally I click that one.
I guess Google's punishing me because I said that Sergey Brin was bonking the Google Glass marketing manager last week.
Yeah, you're right. I don't see it on my profile either. That I'm on. Let's see here.
Oh well. Yep. Anyway, I'll check into that. Maybe I've done something wrong. Maybe I didn't
change your
set
picture.
it up properly. Yeah. All right, Edwin. Did you have a look? Did you have a look at the WebMeUp tool? They do have the other tool, the backlink tool. I think that's brilliant. It's a lovely piece of software, and it works very fast.
Well,
no, I didn't. I never used it, to be honest.
I know Rob Mars did, and I know Tim Capper did, and I think Rob and Tim also had input on the forum because I heard them discussing it. All right. Well, if you guys have nothing to add to the viewers that are still with us and watching, thank you very much. It's the support from people like you that demonstrate that you're interested in what we do, that make what we do worthwhile. We're very grateful for your support and thank you for it. We've got nothing more to discuss tonight. I'm sorry that our news coverage this week was a little light on. I'll see if I can figure out what's gone wrong with our invitation sending system. But anyway, we'll be back at the same time next week. Thank you very much.